Hello, a very warm welcome to Jalango TV, where we bring you the most updated news in town. My good name is Eddie Max, and behind the camera is director Daya. And now on our today's edition, guys, you all know what happened yesterday at Nyayo Stadium. And today with our guest, we are going to discuss that. Maybe before we move into that, I will allow him to introduce himself. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. My name is Onchari Oyeyo. I work for the Center for African Progress. We do research, political research, social research, and economic research as well. Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
Well, now hope you saw what happened yesterday at Nyayo Stadium.
I did, and I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe what is your take on that?
A couple of things. Number one, I'd say the more things change, the more they remain the same. Political violence has been part of our history for a very long time, and I thought we'd made some progress to a point where, we can have some discourse that is heated without necessarily, sinking down to the bottom of the abyss, where there's violence, and like what we witnessed yesterday. It's unfortunate. So there's a way in which we can sort out our differences, we can argue our points, we can confront each other without necessarily being violent. So it's unfortunate. I couldn't want any politician, leader, or Kenyan to be subjected to any form of violence. And more so, the leaders we've elected, the people we've sent to parliament to represent us should be treated with respect. And it's unfortunate what happened to Salasia. So I hope he was not badly hurt, and whoever organized what happened yesterday should be held accountable. Yeah, so number one. Number two, leadership comes with responsibility. You cannot just be a leader without being responsible, and you think you're going to, go scot-free whenever you make mistakes. So now this goes directly to the people we've given responsibilities, the people we've elected, whether you're a member of parliament, a senator, woman representative, president, whoever, whichever position you hold, you should be able to conduct yourself in a manner that is, befitting the office you hold. So time and time again, we've seen Peter Salasia conduct himself in a manner that makes him look like a clown. You see him in funerals, throwing punches, kicks, to a point where you wonder whether he's an elected member of parliament. So yesterday, he got a taste of his own medicine. So I'd like to know what he thinks, because I don't think he's excited. I don't think he appreciated the beating he got. And hopefully, it should be able to remind him of his own behavior, which he has exhibited time and time again in so many occasions before. So it's not good what happened to him, but again, leaders have to be responsible. So number two. Number three, I want to address the idea or the issue of Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila is an institution. Raila is not just anybody. Ever since I was born, I've seen Raila do things for himself, for his supporters, and for this country. He's not a saint. He makes mistakes like any of us. He's not perfect. But again, then he has done so much that we should be able to appreciate. So he makes choices like we all do. Sometimes they're not good, sometimes they're good. And as people support him, we should be able to hold him accountable because he represents us. But then again, descending to a point where you begin abusing him is totally uncalled for. It's disrespectful. And whoever does that has to be punished, not necessarily by being beaten. There's a way in which these people who abuse Raila can be punished. Raila has a right to make choices. He has a right to make political choices, which we might not like. For example, I'm sure there's a big constituency of Raila supporters, including myself, who were not excited when he decided to join Ruto'S government. But that is a political choice he made. When we talk about freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and all that is part of our constitution, it does not stop when you come to Raila. It's also included in that. So He's free to make his choices. He's free to associate with whoever he feels fit. So no leader, no Kenyan should abuse the former prime minister for his political choices. Yes. And for the longest time, Raila has been the bulwark of opposition politics. I don't expect Kenyans to actually expect Raila to always be in the opposition. At some point, he has to make a choice to join government. And the moment he shifts and joins government, it does not mean he moves away with the space of opposition. The moment he shifts, someone else needs to fill that void. Instead of looking at Raila as the perpetual perennial opposition leader. We have Musyoka, we have Wamalwa. All these guys can do what? Move in and fill that void. It's been so shameful that even after Raila crossed over and began supporting the president, the likes of Musyoka kept on following Raila. Oh, we'd like to know what Raila thinks. Why should you ask what Raila thinks? Take the position he has left behind. Become the official leader of opposition. Show some strength. So they should stop blaming Raila and do what they should be doing. You see, these guys kept on talking nonsense until Rigiji came in and actually took over the role of official position, something Musyoka should have done. So I don't expect anyone to disrespect Raila. So Salasia must learn to respect Raila for so many reasons. Raila has done so much for this country. Raila is old. When I look at Raila, I see my grandfather. And where I come from, when you abuse your grandfather, you're cursing yourself. Salasi is a young man who was elected by accident the other day. He does not even know how to conduct himself. So he needs to watch his mouth. Yeah, so the people beat him, of course, had a reason to do that, but then that's not the kind of punishment we'd expect, Salasi to be subjected to. But then he needs to be punished for disrespecting Raila. And even those guys who organized violence in Kisii against Raila should also be held accountable. Raila must be respected. That is beyond negotiation. Yes. It doesn't matter the choices he makes. No.
Some people are saying Salasia was paid by opposition. What do you think?
Now, I'm not very sure about that. Salasia being Salasia, I think is capable of anything. He has demonstrated erratic behavior. He has demonstrated lack of careful thought. He has demonstrated gross intellectual, incompetence. So I couldn't be surprised to learn that he was given some money to do what he did. But whether he was paid or not, being beaten is not necessary. And I could just like us to look at what happened without necessarily digging deep to find out what was going on. Because if he was paid to go and cause chaos and be beaten to gain some sympathy, I think it backfired badly. It actually demonstrated that Raila is still the same institution we've seen for a very long time. So at the end of the day, politically, I don't think it was beneficial to the opposition. No.
And in the same place, we saw some people were supporting Ruto, others were against Ruto.
Yes.
Do you think Ruto will be back in 2027?
Now, 2027 is a bit far away. We're talking about more than 2 years. We say a day in politics is a very long time, so much can happen. But then again, you look at the numbers. I'm a numbers person. I do research for a living. And because of the disorganization of the opposition, chances of beating William Ruto are very slim. William will get Luhya votes up to like 50-55%. William will sweep Rift Valley votes. William will get around 40 to 50% of the Nairobi votes. William will get around 60% of the coast votes. Even if he gets 10% from Mount Kenya, he'll still be re-elected. So it's going to be very, very tough for the opposition, which is very disorganized, to actually beat him. The only person who could have staged a serious bid against William is Matiang'i, who I think by now has shown that he's not even interested, right? So if it's Musyoka, is considered a political lightweight. This is the same person who's been running from church to church, competing with pastors, priests, and bishops for space to issue statements, even in circumstances where Kenyans require direct action. Remember the Adani stuff. Remember SHA, the university funding model. All these things required demonstrations, but Musyoka could not do that. So you'll be shocked that most Kenyans who don't like William will actually vote for William if the choice is between Musyoka and William. So that is how William will easily come back for a second term. Yes.
The other day we saw you conducted research on a Nairobi gubernatorial seat, the leaders that people like and all that. Maybe you can just talk about that a little bit.
Nairobi is a very unique constituency. Obviously, you know, it holds a very special place in the nation. It's the capital, both political, administrative, and even economic. So there's a lot of interest. So Nairobi is a very unique constituency. As I said earlier, it's the political, economic, and administrative capital. And for our company, we've been very, very concerned because ever since it became a county, ever since, you know, devolution came into place, no governor has been re-elected in Nairobi. And we've been very keen to find out why. So obviously, you know, Kidero came in and got in one term. He was kicked out by Sonko. Sonko was impeached. Now we have Sakaja. From our research, he's very unpopular. So now the leading candidate is Babu Owino, who is the current member of parliament for Embakasi East, closely followed by former member of parliament for Dagoretti South, Dennis Waweru. And then, of course, now Sakaja comes in third at 14%. So basically, it's about performance, because Nairobians are very much enlightened. They're keen. When insecurity is a problem, they take note of that. Drainage, of course, every single time there's a light shower, it floods all over. Motorists get to complain. Pedestrians, it's a problem. So they can tell. When there's lack of performance, they can tell. That is why they're very fed up with the current governor, because I think from their feedback given, you know, the people we talked to, according to them, is the most incompetent governor to ever lead the county. So if he gets re-elected, it will be a miracle. But our numbers, our studies, our research does not show any hope of him coming back. Yes.
What if Raila supports him?
Raila has already endorsed him. Actually, we decided to do the study or the research right after Raila endorsed him. And its ODM supporters were very mad with the kind of move Raila made of endorsing Sakaja. The question they're asking is, ODM is a party that is full of talent. There is Babu Owino, there is Edwin Sifuna, there is Pasaris herself, the current woman of Nairobi County. Why could the ODM party leader endorse a failed UDA governor? So that is the question they're asking. Oh, and I forgot to mention Member of Parliament for Westlands, Timo Wanyonyi. He's also in ODM. You know, a very talented guy. You know, tested by time. He's been Member of Parliament for 3 terms now. So he has what it takes in terms of experience to actually be governor. So the question the ODM supporters are asking is, what prompted Raila to ignore all the talent in his own party and endorse a failed UDA governor? So that is why they're mad. They don't want to ride along. They very, very angry. And they have actually sworn to make sure that Sakaja does not get their support. And let me break it down for you, how it's likely to play out. This is a very tribal society. And Raila endorsing Sakaja does not do him any favors. If Babu Owino is on the ballot, no single Luo will vote for Sakaja. It will not happen. That is a reality. So, and then Raila cannot bring Kikuyu votes to Sakaja. Those ones are gone. As we speak now, it's the former deputy president who controls Kikuyu votes. So Raila cannot bring Kikuyu votes to Sakaja. Luya votes cannot come to Sakaja. Actually, okay, Sakaja and Timo Wanyonyi can share Luya votes. So those votes do not come to Sakaja from Raila. So the endorsement means nothing, zero. And as we speak now, I can tell you confidently, Raila cannot give Sakaja Kisii votes. You saw what happened in Kisii when Mzee visited there. So that is hot air. That is the kind of endorsement you call political scam. That's total, pure political conmanship. Yes.
What makes you feel that Ruto will be re-elected in 2027?
It's the numbers. It's the numbers. Number one, it's the numbers. And the numbers, of course, are a function of disorganization of the opposition. As we speak now, the kind of outreach you'd expect the opposition to have accomplished has not taken place. The same president, who happens to be very unpopular, is out there doing more than the opposition that should be doing more. And when you look at the dynamics, it's like the job of decampaigning the president was done by two groups. Number one, the Gen Zs. Number two, the president himself, obviously by bad performance. But the opposition is not taking advantage of that. Okay? So this president, at some point, was almost being kicked out of office, but he has crawled out of that and is gaining ground. And I highlighted a couple of places where he'll get votes that will bring him back to office. I told you about Rift Valley, he'll get votes up to like 70-80%. I've told you about the cost. Because of the guys he has gotten from the coast, the likes of Joho, they'll bring him votes up to like 60%. I've told you about Nairobi. He has captured Raila. Raila will bring a comfortable vote to Ruto's side in 2027. So Ruto will get around 40-50% of the Nairobi votes. You go to Western, he still has Musalia, he has Oparanya, and Wetangula. These guys will bring more than 50% of the Luya votes. So when you do that, when you add the numbers, and then you take into account the fact that William is a hardworking and meticulous fellow who knows how to win more than how to govern, is going to give these guys a very hard time. He will actually win. Yes, the carelessness in the opposition will cost them the election. Yes, and it's going to be a big letdown for our kids, the Gen Zs, because they'll bring in a lot of effort that will go to waste, unfortunately. Yeah.
Do you think Babu Owino can make the best opposition candidate?
Opposition candidate? Babu can make a wonderful opposition leader, but I don't want to see him as a potential opposition leader. I'm seeing Babu as someone who can run a government at some point. So from the numbers, it's like in 2027 he's taking over as the governor of Nairobi County. And if he gets elected, he should focus on governing Nairobi and delivering for Nairobians, who then can decide to promote him to something bigger. So his job as a Nairobi governor will not be to oppose the president, but to deliver. For your information, Nairobi has never gotten a governor who is committed to service delivery. So I'm hoping Nairobians can be able to enjoy that when the next governor is elected. So I couldn't want Babu, if I were to advise him, I couldn't advise him to focus on opposing anybody. He should focus on building himself. Yes.
And maybe as we wrap up, going back to what happened yesterday at Nyayo Stadium, we saw Salasia post on his Twitter account saying that he just chose peace. He didn't want chaos. Yani angeamua kuleta vita, watu wangeona moto. Maybe your last words to him na to that statement.
We all know, that is just too much back and nothing, no force, no action, no nothing. Nairobi is a very hostile constituency, and it's actually under the control of Raila. Salasia does not amount to anything when it comes to political violence. I'll tell you, Raila has the monopoly of political violence in this town. And now because he supports William is going to be able to enjoy that. Salasia can only go and talk in Mumias, where he cannot even push Echesa. The other day he was almost being slapped by Rashid Echesa. So in Nairobi, iko na wenyewe. So the only advice I have to give him is he has to get to learn some good manners. Yes, he's still a young boy. He has to stop being a clown. He has to be a leader, and he must respect elders. When elders make decisions that we might not like them, but they deserve what? Our respect. Yeah. And he must not, if he wants to survive around, especially in Nairobi, he has to stop joking with Raila. Raila has zealots, he has fanatics who can beat you for free in the name of Raila. Yeah, you might even think Raila mobilized to have Salasia beat, and Raila doesn't have time for that. No, Raila's people can walk all the way from Kibra, go to all the clubs in Kilimani to look for Salasia, and they'll beat him up. So for his own good, he has to just shut up. In fact, he needs to apologize to Raila for his own safety. Yes. And Raila is not going to protect him. Even if he tells these guys, oh, stop harassing Salasia, they'll not stop. Yeah. So he just has to apologize to Raila for his own political what? Success and his physical safety. Yeah.
That was wonderful. Nairobi iko na wenyewe. Thank you so much for your time. And to our audience, thank you so much for tuning in to Jalango TV. This is your #1 online TV. My good name is Ed Max, and behind the camera is Director Daya.